We're good?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sandra, welcome.
Thanks.
So we usually put people on the spot a little bit with this first question, but I think there's no one better to introduce yourself, but by you telling us a little bit about you and who you are.
Yeah, okay.
It's always the question, the hardest
It's
question
always
to
the hardest
answer.
question of the
I'm like, do
podcast.
I say hi? I'm Sandra. Introduce myself. Well, I run 6 gelaterias in Melbourne, and I love what I do.
Amazing.
I
Amazing.
live locally, and
Are you in Hawthorne?
yeah, I live in Hawthorne.
Oh, no, it's such a nice area.
Yeah, it's good.
For those who are watching, by the way, this is where we are at the moment, this amazing store. Do you call them stores? Do you call them gelaterias?
Yeah.
Gelaterias is the right term.
That's right. Yeah.
How and I think for context as well, like Piccolina is such an emblematic brand in Melbourne. I think everyone recognizes the stores throughout the city. The gelato is amazing, of course. Tell us about that. Like you've come in such a long journey, I'm guessing, to be
Yeah.
where you are today. But where does that start? Like,
Where did it start?
what are the beginnings?
Well, I've always had a passion for business, and I've always had a passion for design,
Okay.
and I've always had a passion for really high quality produce, but also products. So,
It's very Italian.
yeah.
Like, sorry to interrupt. I keep doing this every time. But just I have Italian friends, and every time you go to their place, it's just like it's all about freshness and
Yeah.
how good things are. And it's like, no, that's not really wine. And it's like
It's a
Yeah.
craft. It's about
It's
the
a
craft,
craft,
isn't
yeah.
it?
That's right.
Do you think that's part of your culture and what you do?
Definitely. I mean, we've just, we always grew up having really good quality food, and food was such an integral part of what we, what brought us together as a family with friendships and family. And it was always come in and eat more, eat, or
Eat.
take
I'm
some
full.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm really full, and it's just about really simple ingredients.
Right.
Nothing kind of tricky.
Okay.
Just really simple food, beautiful food, and really high quality. So I guess I've brought that philosophy as well as my love of design and passion for business all together to create this
Are
brand.
you a designer by training?
Yeah, I studied graphic design.
That I feel like that explains a lot. That was
Yeah.
actually one of my
It's a very-
questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a very keen eye for detail.
100%.
Around the branding and
Yeah.
did you do the branding yourself?
A guy I went to uni with called Nick Cox from
Okay.
Projects of Imagination.
Oh, wow.
He did the graphic design.
That's
so,
cool. Yeah.
Um,
Can you imagine he was going to be 6 dollars down the track? He was like, just a little logo from a t-shirt.
no. Like he knew the plan.
Okay,
So he
yeah.
knew
The ambition, yeah.
Yeah, he knew that, and I just wanted to create something incredible. And he is the best designer that I know.
What was the brief for him?
The brief was, this is a gelateria that I'm doing. I want it to feel traditional. I want it to feel like it's been there for, forever.
Generations. Yeah.
Yeah, I want it to be there for a long, long time. I want it to have longevity. I don't want it to be like something that just sort of is of the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Trendy.
Trendy, yeah, it just needs to feel traditional but really contemporary. And that was the brief. It was like, go for it, do whatever you want.
Wow.
And
is the logo on the windows hand painted?
it's hand painted.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you can
So-
even see the brush strokes there. It's really
Yeah, when the sun shines through, you just see that brush stroke, and it talks to the philosophy of handmade
Yeah.
and producing something that takes time. It's not just doesn't just appear. So all those little touch points
Yeah.
are subtle, and maybe there's some people they might not ever notice or might not matter. But
They do.
But we as designers, trust
Yeah.
me, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like it is one of the
Yeah.
things that I guess I wanted to really talk in detail about, because the brand it's something beyond just the logo. Obviously, your logo is quite emblematic, but like
Yeah.
you come into the stores and there's amazing typography everywhere, and the signage is so good. Like, and then we're talking about lights just before as well. Like, you obviously think about all those details.
All the details, like everything matters. So thinking about doing something ordinary, but in an extraordinary way. So, and paying attention to the detail. So if I can do something and make it really beautiful, then why not? It's an opportunity to really pay attention to every small thing.
So
that's what the business is for me. It's an opportunity to pay attention.
Where did you learn how to make gelato?
Well, I grew up making gelato. Well, I didn't make it, but I grew up eating gelato.
Well, that's a start, because then you know what a good gelato is supposed to taste like.
And eating. I grew up eating the gelato that my dad made for us at home.
Okay.
So he learnt how to make. Dad was an architect, builder, incredible entrepreneur, businessman, developer, everything. And he had the skill of making gelato, and he said, I've got this amazing skill, and if we lose everything one day, if something terrible happens and there's a recession or who knows what, I can open a gelateria. I have this skill and I'll open it. So I came from a very entrepreneurial family. So opening a business like that.
For Armageddon.
That's right. I'll open a gelateria. But in his mindset was, you just open a business. Like, it wasn't. So I've grown up with that and seen my family
What was your first
open
business?
business. My first business was
Really
when I
long
was
fucking time.
11.
Okay.
Nice.
And I opened a business called the Twinkles Company, and it was my rabbit was called Twinkles.
Okay.
Your rabbit was called Twinkle.
I had called my rabbit Twinkles.
Nice.
And so I opened a business called the Twinkles Company, and I borrowed $1,000 from my dad and mum. And we went out and bought all these supplies, and I was making things. I'd make like gift cards and photo albums and like all this crafty stuff. And I got mum's address book, and I wrote invitations to everybody, everyone in her address book, had them all over for like a showing or whatever. And I took orders from people, and then there were but it wasn't, my parents were very honest. Like, if it was babyish, they would have said, no, you're not doing that. But it was like, it was really good product, and I'd spent a lot of time on it. And there were three, like in the 80s.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
but still.
Yeah, it's a decent loan. Let's
it's
put it
a
that
decent
way.
loan
Yeah.
for an 11-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And which I paid every cent of that.
Oh, you
loan
did?
back.
Oh, wow.
Every cent.
Right. Okay.
So, I had this showing and sold everything that I'd made, and I received, I got forward orders that I had to fill, and I picked up 3 clients.
Wow.
So 3 friends of friends who had gift shops who wanted the product.
Right.
So then I'd come home from school every night. I was 11. I think back, I'm like, that's crazy. And I'd make the product to fill the orders.
Get down to
It's
business.
so it's like you. I think that's the beauty of growing up in an entrepreneurial family, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's in your genes almost.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? I grew up thinking when I was at school, because I was really like entrepreneurial, and I mean, I didn't realize it at the time, but you
just
was not scared of anything like that, because I'd grown up and I'd seen it. But I wasn't great at maths, and I wasn't great at science, and I used to think that I wasn't. Yeah, right. I can't spell. Can you spell? I can't spell. I was never good at maths, but I used to think that I was not smart or wasn't good enough in a school that really, put a lot of emphasis on all those kinds of subjects. And so, I don't know, schools don't really know how to foster or encourage a child that's really entrepreneurial or really creative.
Same mold.
So, but I was lucky enough to have,
traditional school?
an all girls private school. Like, it was,
I know that school.
You've done your research,
So-
right?
No, that's because my wife went to that school as well.
oh,
And
okay.
her sister and her mum. It's
Yeah.
like, it's a thing. Like,
Yeah.
they're
It's
just-
it's very straight. But most schools in Victoria are like private schools are pretty they put a lot of emphasis on,
the traditional kind of subjects.
Yeah, and the score that you get, because it's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I guess they need to promote how great their kids are, the kids that they produce. But what they don't, and I mean, I got great marks in year 12. It just wasn't that, but they don't. I don't know. There's just, now it's a little bit different, but at the time there wasn't like this.
I think now there's a mindset,
nurturing.
I don't know,
Yeah, it's different now, but
now it's like I have a 2-year-old, and I don't know if I'm gonna push him to go to uni for something.
yeah,
Like if he wants to do something different with his life,
Yeah.
that's gonna bring him joy and purpose in his life.
yeah,
I might even say yes, but
Mm.
when
Yeah.
I was brought up, I was like, at least finish high school,
Yeah.
and then see what you want to do, and that's what I did, And
Yeah.
luckily for me, I picked a career like design, like you, that I really like, but
Yeah.
some of my classmates, they just never liked it, and they had
Yeah.
to be there because that was their way to do things.
yeah,
Was like when you finished school, like, I'm guessing you had a few more businesses after the one that you had when you were 11, but
Yeah.
like, you finished school, and did you know right away, I want to become a designer, or
yeah.
what was that
Yeah.
like at the time?
Yeah, so I did, I worked as hard as I could through year 12. I knew that I wanted to get into graphic design, and so I produced work for my classes at school specifically to get into design. So I researched what they were looking for, and then I just
Super.
created
Yeah,
something that I would give myself the best shot of getting in.
Of course,
And then I just did extra work to produce a folio that would, because it was all through interviews and it wasn't based on your marks.
Yeah.
But I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And I remember, like, when you think back on teachers and people in your life who can either encourage you or discourage you. I remember a teacher saying to me, it was my art teacher, she said, no one gets into graphic design. It's really, really hard.
And that was the arts teacher.
That was the art teacher.
The closer you have to graphic design, is
Yeah.
the closer you have closer to that. It's
Yeah.
And she basically said, you should have a second option.
Gelato.
And yeah.
She was like, you should
And I
really
was
start
like,
gelato.
wow. And I remember going home and telling my parents that. And they're like, the first lesson in success is don't listen to the naysayers and work your butt off.
Wow. What a
And so I was
valuable
like,
lesson.
okay,
It's a hustle,
yeah,
right?
the hustle. And it was just like, don't listen to her. Don't let her get into your head. Don't listen to her. You
Next
can
time she
do
won't
it,
have a
and you
store
can.
anymore.
Yeah.
Have you-
Italian
But then I yeah, that's right. What did you say? But I was like, okay. So I just went out,
Nice.
just kept going,
Wow.
went out, did really well at school, and then, went, had my interview, and got in. I got into 2 courses. I got into Monash and I got into Swinburne.
Where did you end up going?
I ended up going to Monash.
Oh, fantastic. That's where I went.
Yeah.
Until it's one of the best.
It's the best.
It was such a great place
Yeah.
to be. It's interesting. It sounds a little bit like all these experiences throughout your life have, in a way, been a school for what you do today.
Yeah, it's like there are these life lessons that I've been lucky enough to learn from my parents and growing up, as I said, in a really creative and entrepreneurial family. And it's just, I've just grown up and I've seen it from day one. And so it's just very natural. But
And-
I've been lucky.
And then at what point you go, I'm tired of this graphic design thing. I need a change in careers.
So I finished uni, worked with different studios in Melbourne, and then my sister had started Hub Furniture, which is a really high-end furniture store, and she was like, oh,
It runs in the family,
yeah, entrepreneurial, like
Totally.
businesses, and so that's all very normal. Sort of, start a business, close a business, start it, like it's all.
Try it now.
Yeah, like I often think about starting another business, and I often, like, my head
Like
just
now,
what could I do? And I've got lots of things I'd love to do.
Is that
and-
just because of you like the challenge, or you just like your mind's always
yeah,
like
I'm just always thinking about new
what's one of those
ideas.
businesses that you think about?
I've got lots of different ideas. I haven't landed on the one.
Okay.
What's the most random one? I'm just hoping
Curious.
like I don't want to be a DJ or something.
Yeah, no.
Something
A
really
nightclub,
random.
or-
Yeah, yeah.
has nothing to do with
I mean,
gelato.
it's anything really. It's just finding something that you're interested in and then just creating an experience around it.
Yeah.
So I could be selling pens. It could be creating, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's what you do with it.
What did you say before? Making the ordinary extraordinary.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's an opportunity. Like I think about every fit out that we do, for example, the reason why they're all different to one another is that I don't want to reproduce the same thing again.
Yeah.
It's just boring and it's not making a contribution
No, that's
to
really-
the
So,
landscape.
The gelateria on Auckland Street.
Yeah.
Got that pop out.
Yeah.
The what do you call it? Serving station or the window?
Yeah, like the windows
Yeah,
out to the
and that
street.
works-
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been to that one, but it works just perfectly because
Yeah.
everyone's just walking.
There's a lot of
up
foot
and down.
traffic
A lot
on
of
that
foot
street.
traffic,
Yeah.
and it just
Yeah.
it's a tiny shop.
Tiny.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it just you open that up and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to live in St Kilda, and I would be there every week.
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
My son, his first gelato was from that shop.
Ah,
Yeah,
cool.
and he absolutely
That's cool.
loved it. Yeah, absolutely. He was bonkers.
What
I love
flavor?
it.
What did he have? Do you remember?
It must have been chocolate.
Oh yeah, classic.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
And
It's not chocolate. No, it is chocolate.
Chocolate?
Yeah.
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 But it's nice, like all these memories that people have of the
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
It
I'm sure
makes
we
you
have a
realize, yeah, like there are lots of firsts. Like
Yeah.
people had a first date here, or they had their,
Yeah, totally.
you know, photo. You
Any
know, I don't know.
proposals you've been you
There-
witnessed?
We haven't. I don't know. Actually, I feel like there was a story about one, but I haven't witnessed anything. But I think I've heard like people have messaged or sent photos, or
Yeah, that's
we
nice.
definitely get people having their like asking if they can have their wedding shots
Oh,
in
really?
different
Here?
stores. Yeah,
Ah, nice.
especially
For
in
the weddings.
Collingwood. Yeah, they'll
Yeah,
come in with their
right.
photographers or
The halls.
Richmond. They love it.
Yeah.
And it's just part of their
That's
their
when you know you
life
became
stories.
a staple
Yeah,
in Melbourne. You know?
Totally,
When
100%, yeah.
People go to your spot and there's like, I want to take a photo because
Yeah.
that just sets a place in time.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. And they love to in Collingwood lift up the window and it's got the Piccolina and they sit in the window with the gelato and it's really sweet.
It's a whole experience.
Yeah.
And
Like-
do you think like you picked that from like how do you think about experience? Because I feel like there's one thing about design, like you can be a very good graphic designer, right?
Yeah.
And you can produce amazing work, but then experience is something different. I find it's more about
Yeah.
thinking about all the details and how people feel.
Yeah.
Is that something you picked up like working somewhere, or was that something that
It's
you just thought it was natural for a business?
Well, I think it's just, for me, it just comes from within. Like, it's not something I try to create or
Okay.
do, or it's just, I don't know. It's just
You're
something that
natural.
resonates with me. And
Yeah.
so I do what resonates, and it resonates with other people.
Because you have really good ideas when it comes to your brand, and one of the ones that we want to talk to you about is the collaborations that
Yeah.
you do with renowned chefs. You know, it's not
Yeah.
like your classic little shop
Yeah.
down the road. It's like really high-end experts in
Yeah.
the field. Can you tell us more about that? Maybe you start. Where did the idea come from, and
Yeah.
how did you go about to reaching out and coming up with those ideas and collaborations? I'm sure there was a lot of. Maybe you start.
Yeah.
I'll keep asking.
Yeah, that's okay. So that idea was formed through a collab that I did with Scott Pickett and Long Grain through
Right.
the second or the first lockdown. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had just purchased Long Grain, and we're in a lockdown, and it was just a little bit before Providor
Okay.
came on the scene, and
Yeah.
where you could get these boxes delivered to home.
High-end restaurants,
Yeah, that's right. It was just a little bit before that, and I rang, and I live in Hawthorne, and I rang Scott and I said, I am so bored of eating the same things that I can get within a 5K radius, and it's killing me. And I said, what about we do a box with Long Grain and Piccolina, like two classic brands. Like
Yeah.
Long Grain is just the best,
So good.
and Piccolina, and we'll bring it to Hawthorne, and we'll bring it to all the people around Hawthorne, and just give them
Yeah,
something
yeah.
different.
Mm.
And he's like, yeah, great idea. And he said, well, let's not just do it in Hawthorn. Let's just do it. Let's use all of your venues, all of my venues, and let's just sell it everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking you. As soon as we launched that collab, I think we sold something like 1,200 boxes. And he rang me at 600 boxes. He said, we've sold 600 boxes. We've got to cut it. And I said to him over the phone, don't you dare cut it. I'm like, keep going. He's like, all right. I'm like, don't you dare. He's like, okay. And we ended up selling, like 1,200 boxes, something like that.
And then did you cap it then?
Yeah, we had to cap it. Like we had maxed out, and I mean, it was. But going back to your question about how we came up with the idea. So the idea was for the box was that it was the beautiful food that he created, and then a 1 litre tub of gelato with 3 unique flavours designed by Scott Pickett.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we did these 3 flavours that were incredible. They just tasted like Thai in a box. There was like a lemon infused with lemongrass.
Wow.
Insane. Yeah. It tasted like Thai, a Thai dessert. It was really amazing.
I'm gonna dare to say that I tried them because my wife loves lingerie, and she's like if you had a call, she would be the leader of that.
Yeah.
She loves the Piccolina.
Yeah.
And I do remember receiving a box with all these, but we also throughout the lockdowns, we had Meat Maiden, and then we had like what's the other Chin Chin. Yeah. But I'm sure we went through long rain as well. Yeah. And she's gonna kill me if I don't say this right now, if I don't mention it. But it's just such an amazing.
Amazing. And the way Scott, so I said to him, just create 3 flavours, whatever you want. Yeah. Whatever, just let's not be restricted, just come up with something incredible. And he came up with these 3 flavours, and each flavour just packed such a huge punch. Like the flavours were so full of just flavour. And it was amazing. And it made me think about how a chef approaches a gelato flavour.
Right.
Or how a chef approaches a dessert, which is different to a pastry chef.
Right.
So
completely different skills.
It's a whole different craft.
Completely different, and it made me excited about working with other chefs. And I thought this could be a really interesting series.
How did that work? So logistically speaking, so you having designed the flavors, right?
Yeah.
But then I'm guessing they don't have access to making gelato at the restaurant, so they have to probably use your facilities.
Well, no. So he just came up with the concept. Yeah. He said, I want this flavour, this flavour, and this flavour.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I want it to be like this, or this.
Yeah.
And then we would go away and write the recipe.
Right.
And so I'd say to him, when you say, banana and whatever, what in your mind, what percentage tastes like banana? Or like when we did the collab with Hugh Allen and Sharon Ringling for the last series, and he did a cantaloupe, coconut, and carrot sorbet, and then it was topped with green ants.
Really?
Incredible.
Wow, that's interesting. It sounds very interesting. I need to try
delicious.
it because I can't even imagine what it tastes like.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I sort of said to him, but how much carrot do you want to taste? How much cantaloupe do you want? And so he kind of gave me the percentages, I guess.
What's the process like when you get the recipe, you start making? Is that trial and error?
Well, we need to write the recipe because writing a recipe for gelato is very technical. If you kind of add, it's not just like doing a pasta sauce. You've got to salt, bit of this, taste it. It's really technical. So if you put too much sugar, it screws it up. If you put too much of a certain ingredient or another, and you've got to balance out the sugars in the ingredients, and
that's why the texture of your gelato is different to other shops, right?
It's all balanced. Yeah. The recipes are all our recipes, and they're all unique. And the recipes were based on what I grew up eating and what my memory of gelato was.
There's something interesting as well about flavors. Actually, every Wednesday you release 3 new flavors. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
So today there's 3 new flavors.
Yeah.
One of them is dulce de leche, which by the way I
Yeah.
want to try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
and-
pressure.
No pressure.
It's okay.
But I'm just curious about like the flavors as well.
Yeah.
Like what I mean, like every Wednesday you need to come up with
Yeah.
what like new ideas. Like what is that like a
How
new
does it
process
work?
every time? Like
Yeah.
or do you come up with something and
I
yeah,
can't even
like
come up with 3 Instagram
are you
posts.
asking people
You have to
around you
come up
like
with 3 different flavors. I'm
It
gonna
took us-
challenge you.
yeah,
The
like-
status quo, you know.
It took a long time to get into the rhythm of that, and
Yeah.
it's just about discipline really, and writing a menu and then testing everything out, retesting it, and then kind of, like we're almost 7 years in, and it wasn't always like that. Like it was, sometimes we'd get it right, sometimes we'd get it wrong. But
yeah.
if you want to kind of grow and expand and be serious and be, and give the customer a great experience every time, and that means made a commitment to doing 3 flavors every Wednesday, then you stick to that.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like a TV channel, right? Like
100%,
you
yeah.
expect to turn
What's
it
the
on.
hardest flavor you've come up with? Might have worked or not, but if you were like,
All the 8 chef flavors are the most fun, and they're really challenging.
in what way?
Because the flavors, our menu is based on traditional Italian gelato, that it just doesn't change. We've got flavors that have been there from the beginning, and they'll be there, the staples.
Yeah.
Yep. And they're representing a traditional, like what you would find in Italy. And I put so much work into each flavor that I don't need to cover it with any toppings or anything like that. It's just special because it's incredible and the ingredients are incredible.
Yeah.
Then we have our 3 specials a week, and they're kind of a little bit more experimental,
Out
I
there.
guess, a little bit
Adventurous.
different,
Yes.
but they're still quite, they're still quite, what's the word? They're crowd pleasers, I guess. Like people love them.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, do you have people coming in on Wednesday because they want to try
Yeah.
those flavors?
Definitely.
Just
Yeah.
because of that.
Just
Yeah, definitely. So they're kind of crowd pleasers. And so the 8 chefs in 8 week series, so we'll be up to, we're doing a 3rd series.
When's that one coming up?
Well, we're working on that at the moment.
Okay.
So
year?
it'll be next year.
Next
We
year.
do 1 a year. I wanted to do 2 a year, but it's
You're already doing 3 flavors.
Yeah.
so much work. It's so much work. And the challenge is, to answer the question, is that the brief is completely open. So we
Yeah.
say to the
Yeah.
chefs, do anything you want.
Yeah.
Anything you want. And they come up with these incredible flavors and toppings, and it's just
Golden.
all this kind of stuff. And so then we have to go away and work out how we can execute that,
Right.
be respectful of the concept,
Yeah.
produce something that, it's one thing to produce something small for a restaurant. It's another thing to produce it en masse for 6 gelaterias and be able to
course.
execute that beautifully every time.
Yeah.
Is the gelato? Where do you make it? Is it behind the
We make it
shop?
in Collingwood.
Oh,
All
that's
of our
where-
pastry chefs are in Collingwood.
And then it gets distributed
Yeah.
to the rest
Every
of the
day.
gelaterias
yeah,
every day.
every day.
So what
It's
time
fresh every day.
and what's the process
Before
that
12 o'clock it happens. So
right?
everything's delivered
So it's
before
not
12.
just the logistics of making the gelato, it's also making sure it gets there.
Yeah.
How do we challenge it? Well, I'm sure you've heard about this, but once you start going outside Melbourne,
Yeah, well, that's the next challenge.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
to make sure like
Yeah.
you don't have to be there, but to make sure like it's like you were there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
And the flavors is really interesting because I was telling you before off camera, back in Mexico there's an ice cream for gelato, where it's an ice cream chain, and they make flavors of, they make ice cream of every single flavor,
yeah,
including cactus and
Yeah.
tequila, and there's rum as well.
Mm.
Ale, he's from Venezuela, so
Mm.
lots of rum there.
yeah,
And then those are the crowd pleasers, like you
Yeah.
go there, there's always tequila flavored ice cream.
yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
Does it actually taste good though?
Yeah,
And
it's-
really?
yeah, it is. And then the other thing is that lemon and any citrusy,
Yeah.
any citrusy flavor comes with chili.
Mm.
So you can sprinkle chili on it.
Yep.
Like dried salt and not
Yeah,
dried
we-
salt, like
we
dried
did-
lime and dried chili and salt.
Yeah, we did one of the 8 chef flavors was similar to that, and it had a chili
Yeah.
salt on it. was amazing.
Chili sauce.
Yeah.
It's like
With
it's
a
like
lemon.
drink a margarita, but
Yeah.
like a frozen margarita.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah. Well, I think the 8 Chef series is an opportunity for us to do things that are a little bit outside of the box, that.
Yeah.
And it's really good fun.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's also an opportunity. Even the every Wednesday the new flavors, right? Like it's an opportunity to test, right?
Yeah, definitely.
What sticks you can add to the menu, and it's always this constant evolution.
changing.
What you were saying before.
Yeah,
Is there
giving
a flavour
people
you
something
don't wanna
new.
try
Yeah.
Ever again, for any reason, just like maybe it didn't work or
No, not really.
just. Do you ever go back to the same flavors, like the weekly specials?
Yeah, but definitely. If we didn't, people would be upset. Like I had someone.
Yeah. Where's my dulce de leche?
Yeah. Like someone sent a
You'll be
message.
knocking out the
Yeah.
Like an Instagram message saying, I missed, this flavor. Like, when's it going to be back? I just missed it. I thought it was, I can't believe it's Wednesday already. And
All right.
I'm like, it'll come back. I can make it come back.
Maybe
So,
try it
Come
and
on.
then try it.
yeah.
Actually, how many flavors do you have?
There are
Roughly?
18 core flavors.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
it wasn't too
no,
far off.
18, 20. 18, and we added a couple of vegan flavors that have become permanent. So yeah,
Right.
20 permanent flavors.
You should try
Wow.
to memorize where they are before you leave tonight.
Yes.
I was just asking the staff before. I was like, "How do you know?" He's like, "We just memorize it." Like,
It's
just
like
Yeah.
your
nothing.
sock drawer.
We just
You know where
memorize
your
it.
stuff is.
I don't know where my son's. Usually they don't get that far. Just take out
Yeah.
the basket.
Pull
because it's
something
still-
that's on the floor, like out.
Is there
Shake it off.
something about obviously you started with the passion of making gelato because it was in your family and your heritage, but like now you're running a business that requires a lot more than just making gelato.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of running the business?
I mean, I love, this is going to sound weird,
Okay.
but I love problem solving.
Hmm.
Oh, no, that's not.
That's
So
I think that's
like-
creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're creative native in you naturally
Yeah.
gravitates
So
to that.
there's always a problem every day. There's always a
saying
problem.
this
There are
before,
multiple
yeah.
problems,
Yeah.
but it's just how you approach a problem.
Yeah.
And it's about being creative and thinking creatively about how to solve the problem.
Right.
So that's what I really enjoy. And I enjoy, I love talking to interesting people like yourselves. I get,
Thank you.
it's really fun learning about how other people see the world. So I find that really interesting. And I've been lucky enough to have the opportunity now to be speaking to more people, to more people, interesting people who've been successful because the business is successful. And I still see myself as green. Like I'm still learning every single day. And because the business is successful, or maybe because the business resonates with people and people look at it and go, wow, it's something great and this person's doing something interesting. People say yes to having a conversation with me. So
Right. It's opening doors for you.
and I just get to sit down with incredible people and
And the chefs,
talk to them.
Yeah.
Chefs, business people, mentors, people who run different types of businesses. I just it's open doors to be able to learn from people, and that's been
That's awesome.
really amazing.
And top 3 flavors.
Top 3 for me or for the shop?
Oh, let's do both. Let's do you first. Top 3 flavors for you.
Okay, I love strawberry sorbet with the panna on top, the cream.
Okay.
All right.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the south of Italy. All the summers we used to head back to Italy and just run amok with all of our cousins. Italian summer. Yeah, I used to go back two, 3 times a year.
Really?
I love it. I haven't been for so long and I feel stifled. Like I need to go and get to Europe
Yeah.
and
Get
just
inspired.
get inspired. Like there's inspiration around every corner. So yes, I love
So
Italy,
that's
but
number
that's one. I quite like the coffee gelato with our Nutella. So we make Nutella from scratch.
Yeah.
So like that on
Fountain,
top, the
Wow.
fountain, that's really good.
And
Third
you
would
can't
be-
call it Nutella, can you?
I call it better than Nutella.
Just because you make it, you know,
Yeah.
you can do
Just
that.
because it is
Yeah.
better.
Because it's better. And
So it's fully from scratch.
fully from scratch. That's why
Wow,
it's
that's
better.
incredible.
It doesn't have any. It's just clean. It's
Yeah.
got chocolate, loads of hazelnut,
Okay.
some sugar. It's just simple
Yeah.
ingredients that you can find in your pantry at home.
Yeah, right.
It's nothing tricky.
Yeah.
So
Coffee with Nutella.
coffee with Nutella, it's
better than-
really yummy
That-
with
yeah.
better than Nutella.
That sounds very
And
good.
I love. If I had to pick a third, it would be the better than Nutella gelato
All right. Yeah.
On its own.
on its own.
It's
Oh,
that
maybe
it's
I'd
that good.
add. Yeah, it's that good. Maybe I'd add extra Nutella if I felt like it. But yeah, it's good.
Right.
I actually do not eat that much gelato, funnily enough.
But are you like trying, like
Yeah,
tasting,
we're tasting
all the time?
Like we've got a culture of tasting the food that we
Yeah.
produce to make
Mm.
sure that it's up to scratch. It's the right texture. That we haven't. It's all made by hand, so you can mess things up. We're all human, so we just
Yeah.
have a culture of tasting the food
Mm.
before it goes out.
Which
Yeah.
I think we're almost on time, right? Did you want to wrap it up? Something else?
I did have one more question
Yeah, go for
actually before we
Yeah.
wrap up. Tell us about ingredients, because I feel like that's something that it's quite interesting, that it's a whole process in itself.
Yeah.
Where does that start? Do you go and source the ingredients yourself? You have people helping you?
Yeah.
What does that look like before it gets to become a gelato?
All the ingredients all the flavors that are produced, everything, all the, what am I saying? All the flavors that
Mhm.
make up a flavor,
Yeah.
that's all created from scratch in the kitchen. So
Yeah.
the salted caramel, we're making the caramel sauce and we're putting that into the
So
product.
everything
So
is-
everything's
yeah.
raw. We get all the raw ingredients. That's the word I'm looking for. All
Right.
the raw ingredients.
Okay.
Do you grow it yourself?
We don't, but I'd love to.
Yeah.
That would be
Mm.
amazing. But yeah, all
Probably
the
next-
pistachio.
It's another challenge.
It's
Just
another.
add to the
It's a
list.
whole other
Add to the
challenge.
list.
Yeah.
That would be incredible. But then all the pistachio nuts, for example.
Mm.
We've had so many people come to us saying, use this tub of pistachio paste. It's really great. And I'm like, it is. It says 100% natural, but there's something about it that doesn't taste
Yeah.
the same as
Yeah.
my pistachio that I make
Right.
Yeah.
from scratch.
Right.
And although the chefs are like, please, can we just buy the pistachio? I'm like,
Like, no, you gotta crush
Chance,
it yourself.
yeah. Yeah, that's
One
right.
by one.
feel it. But I'm like, look, okay, try it. Do me a batch.
Yeah.
And then we'll put our gelato here.
Blind test.
and
Put it to the
yours there.
test. Yeah.
If we agree,
Okay.
hand
Yeah.
on our heart, that one's better, sure.
Yeah.
But we can't, no one can. Everyone's like, yeah, no. It's no
At
good.
least,
I'm like,
at least
well,
you're
we
giving it
can't.
a chance and they're being honest, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, make it, go for it. You know? We'll
Love it,
see. If,
love
if
it.
if you can find a supplier
Mm.
who can create the pistachio nuts the way that we do in house,
Yeah.
and it works and it all weighs up and all that, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
We'll happy to do that. Save time, save costs, save stress. But
Yeah.
until you have
Until
that,
then,
then
yeah.
we have to do what we set out to do, and that's to
Mm.
create something really authentic and different and unique.
Yeah.
And you can't change something that's so popular. Like our pistachios are number one seller.
Is it?
Yeah, like who would have thought? And when
I was
we
the only one who loved it.
when we started the gelateria, we started with pistachio. I thought, oh, no one's going to eat it. Like we'll have to end up,
Really?
no one will eat it. And then it was an education process.
It's funny
like,
how you have those
try it.
perceptions when people are honest. Which is
Yeah. It's when you put it out that you really realize what's working and what isn't.
Yeah, that's right. So, and you've got to be really careful changing a recipe when people love something. That
Yeah.
You've got part of your
Yeah.
job is keeping
Yeah.
it consistent every time.
Mm.
So, does that answer your question?
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
I think something that I've learned, I'm going to take with me today is that, every detail matters.
Yeah.
And that's how you actually, stay true to what you started. Like,
Yeah.
you off camera, we're talking about your ambition and how you now think about 20 gelaterias, and
anything's
it's
possible.
always evolving, but
Yeah.
you always staying true to the craft.
Yeah, that's right. And it's something that matters to me. It may not matter to somebody else, and that's okay. But this is what matters to me, and I figure if I'm going to do something, I may as well put everything into it and make it as special as I can make it. So yeah, it's some people don't understand it. That's okay.
No, but clearly you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks so much for
Thanks,
your time.
Sandra.
Thank you.
That was
It was
great.
fun.
We'll
Thank
make
you.
sure we'll try some gelato again.
Yes.
For
Because
sure.
I was here last Friday.
Strawberry piccolina
Yeah.
and coffee with
do
I
it.
will try the better Nutella.
We'll do
Yeah.
we'll do tasting and rating from the camera.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
No worries.
Adios.
Thank
See you in the next one.
That was quick. Right? It didn't go fast, did it?
I told you, yeah.